everybody, it's Mel. Thank you for joining me today for a recommending books to other booktubers video. So this is a series of videos that I have been doing on my channel for a few years now, and the basic premise is, as the name suggests, I recommend books to different booktubers. So that's what we're going to do today. I have a list of 8 booktubers that I'm going to do a personal recommendation for, based on books that I know that they've enjoyed and yeah, that sort of thing. Before we go any further and get into the crux of the video, obviously all of the people that I talk about today are going to be linked in the description below, so please go and check them out and subscribe to their channels if you haven't already. If you would like to be recommended a book in one of these videos, then please comment that below. You do not have to be a booktuber. If you are a booktuber, then you'll just need to comment and say, yes, please pick me, or some such. But if you're not a booktuber, I will still definitely recommend you a book, but please include your Goodreads or just a couple of books that you've really enjoyed recently or some favourites, just to give me an idea of the kinds of books that you enjoy so that I can make sure to select a book that I think you will actually really enjoy. But yeah, that's the basic idea of the video today. As ever, I like to try and make sure that I choose people who I know have a vague awareness of my channel. We don't have to be specifically particular friends, but I do try and also choose friends, but definitely try and make sure that people have a vague idea that my channel exists, because otherwise they won't get the recommendation. But I still also do try and make sure that I pick potentially at least one bigger booktuber who I don't think necessarily knows who I am, just for the fact of trying to get myself out there and get myself known. Yeah, so that's the kind of general idea, and let's get into today's recommendations. So first of all, I'm going to be recommending a book to Martine from Just Martine, and the book today that I'm recommending for you, Martine, is The Miseducation of Cameron Post by, I cannot remember who the author is of that book, but it will be on screen. And I have to be completely honest with you, I started making this list a few months ago when I put out my last video of this nature, and I can't actually remember why it specifically was that I chose this book for you. At the moment, I'm sticking with it though, because I do have a vague idea that you would enjoy the book. So this book follows a young girl, Cameron Post. Starts out when she's quite young, and she's probably about, I don't know, 6 or something like that, and then kind of grows with her as she grows into teenagerhood, and it is about her finding her sexuality, and then when her family and acquaintances find out that she is queer, they send her off to one of those re-education camps, and of course it doesn't work. And it's basically a commentary on those sorts of camps and what was going on. I mean, I think it still happens, unfortunately, but what sort of is the general feeling behind why people get sent there, what is the purpose, how it doesn't work, and the fact that it's obviously very bad and, you know, very homophobic and etc. Sorry, words are not working for me very well today, but anyway. And yeah, for some reason, as I said, I can't remember what it was that specifically made me think that you would enjoy this book, but I'm hoping that you do get a chance to read it and that you do enjoy it if you do. The next person that I am recommending a book to is Becca from the Becca Fowl. The book that I'm recommending to you today, Becca, is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. The reason that I'm recommending this book to you is because I know that you have really enjoyed The Tomes and Tea, I think is the series. The first one being You Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thorne. I was watching a video of yours recently and you were talking about the third book in that series and how much you loved it. It seems to have become a favourite series of yours. So because it is a cozy fantasy, I think that you will really enjoy The Spell Shop. The Spell Shop is also a cozy fantasy. I really enjoyed it. I read it recently, had a lot of fun with it. It was my favourite book of March. It is, as I said, a cozy fantasy. We follow, I think you would pronounce the name Kayla or possibly Keela, and she lives in this fantasy world, and the fantasy world is run by some people who have total control over magic. She works in the library, she lives in the library in this major city. There's basically a lot of revolts and rebellions and riots and all of those sorts of things that come with revolution, and she escapes the library, escapes this situation and goes to her hometown. She takes a bunch of books from the library, spell books, with her, and also takes her assistant, who is a sentient spider plant called Kaz, and they escape to her home island town, which is an island that is out in the sort of far reaches of the Empire, and it's very homey, and yeah, it's just a really lovely little story. There's a love story in there, there's lots of found family aspects, and magic, and just really lovely cozy fantasy book that I think that you will really enjoy. So the book that I'm recommending to you today, Becca, is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. Next up, I'm going to be recommending a book to Lisa from Lisa Does Life, and the book that I'm recommending to you is actually a series. Today I'm going to recommend the Every series by Ellie Marnie to you, Lisa. The reason that I'm recommending this series to you is because I was having a look at your Goodreads, having a look at your favourites, and I noticed that you really enjoy sort of cozy mystery books. I did have a little bit of a look, and I did see that you haven't read this series, but you have read the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, The Good Girls Guide to Murder series by Holly Jackson, which is a series that I really love, and I have in the past comped to the Every series. Apologies if the lighting or angle or anything has changed. I had to quickly swap out the e-reader, the card reader I should say. Anyway, yes, so the Every series is also a young adult murder mystery series. It doesn't have the same podcast element to it, but it does feel similar in the way the characters are written and the sort of way the story is written, and just in general that it's a young adult mystery. I really enjoy the Every series. I thought it was really well written. It is a Sherlock Holmes and Watson retelling, except that we follow James Moriarty and Rachel Watts, and yeah, it's just a really fun series, and based on my comp to Good Girls Guide to Murder, I think that you'll really enjoy it. I hope that you will. I know that you loved the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, so for that reason I am recommending to you, Lisa, the Every series by Ellie Marnie. And then I am going to be recommending a book to Hope from Jackalope Hope. So the book that I'm going to be recommending to you is Skyward. This is the first book again in a series, which is, I think, just called the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson. It is a young adult sci-fi series that I think that you will really enjoy. The reason for that is because I've noticed that you do read quite a lot of sci-fi, and there was a book, which I cannot remember the name of, but there was a book that I heard you talk about over the last couple of months or so that you really enjoyed, and something about it made me think that it might be vaguely similar to the young adult Brandon Sanderson sci-fi series that I'm talking about, and so I thought that you might enjoy the series, and obviously you should start with Skyward, which is the first book in the series. So Skyward the first book follows Spencer. Spencer is a young woman who lives on this planet called Detritus. She's one of many humans living on Detritus. They know that the Earth was attacked many centuries ago, and they were chased to this planet Detritus, and there is this race of aliens that they call the Krell, who are intent on constantly attacking them, and it seems like the Krell are trying to wipe them out, and they're always in battle against the Krell, have been for many generations. Spencer wants to become a fighter pilot, wants to become one of the elite pilots who help to defend them against the Krell, but her father was branded a not traitor, coward even, and so there's stain on her reputation. But anyway, she does manage to join, and it's about what happens, and then the series goes from there. And yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed the series. I thought they were really well written. I thought they were a lot of fun. Had some interesting things to say about society and about violence and aggression, and yeah, just thought it was a really interesting series. So for that reason, I'm recommending Skyward to you and the entire series to you, Hope. So I hope that you really enjoy them. The next person I want to recommend a book to is the person who I don't know how aware they would be of my channel. They are really quite a very big YouTuber. I think they're becoming more of a sort of general booktuber than they used to be, more of a journaler. But anyway, that person is Elizabeth from Plant-Based Bride. Elizabeth has a huge channel. I very much doubt she knows I exist, but nonetheless, I'm going to recommend a book and see how we go. So the book that I'm recommending to you, Elizabeth, is The Stationery Shop of Tehran, or possibly just The Stationery Shop. I'm not really sure what it's called in the States. I think it might be just called The Stationery Shop. But anyway, the title I have here in Australia is The Stationery Shop of Tehran by Marjan Kamali. I read this earlier this year and really enjoyed it. It is I'm not really sure what sort of genre it would fit into. I would probably call it a mix of maybe literary fiction and historical fiction. There is a romance. It is one of those books where we're going to swap between timelines, and we have a timeline in Tehran where our main character grew up, and in that timeline we see her visiting this stationery shop, which is also a bookshop, and meeting this young man and developing a relationship with him. And then in our present timeline, we see her in America, and she's spent her adult life in America. She moved there to go to university, and it's about the way that the past, creates and influences the future, and the different paths we could have taken in our lives and all of that sort of thing. We also do touch on some of the history of Tehran and of Iran, and I found that really interesting. I thought it was incredibly well written. It was one of my favourite books of this year so far, and I just really enjoyed it, and it feels like the kind of book that you would really enjoy, and hopefully that is the case. So the book that I'm recommending to you, Elizabeth, is either The Stationery Shop of Tehran or just The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali. Next up, I'm going to recommend a book to Heather from here, Booktubers. Now, Heather was a little bit of a difficult booktuber to come up with a recommendation for, because she reads a lot of romance and a lot of romantasy, neither of which is a genre that I'm particularly versed in, shall we say. Yes, so Heather's a little bit tricky for me personally to recommend to, just because we don't share a lot of overlapping interests in terms of our reading. However, the book that I'm going to recommend, or the series again that I'm going to recommend to you today, Heather, is the Divine Rivals series. So the first one is Divine Rivals, the second is, oh god, I've read it this year and now it's left my brain. Anyway, it's on the screen. Divine Rivals and whatever the second one is called, Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is young adult. I'm not sure how much you read young adult, but it is a young adult fantasy romance that I really enjoyed. It's very light-hearted. It is a bit more of a historical fiction focus. There is a romance, but it is not it's not super romance forward. It's not super fantasy forward either. There's historical fiction elements, but I still think that you really enjoy it. I'm hoping that you really enjoy it. I thought that it was really well written. I had a lot of fun with it. We follow two main characters. We follow Iris, Winnow, and Roman Kit, and they are journalists. They work at the same newspaper, but they are rivals for the same position, and there is a war going on between these two gods, and that hasn't involved humanity and the people that live in their areas. The place where it's set is very reminiscent of sort of First World War England, which is why I would say that it is historical fiction as well. But yeah, I thought it was well written. I had a lot of fun, so I'm hoping that you enjoy it as well. Then I would like to recommend a book to Emily from Emily Beth Hall. So Emily, the book that I'm recommending to you today is The Bookbinder of Jericho by Pip Williams. The reason that I'm recommending this book to you is very simple. It's because I know that you read The Dictionary of Lost Words and you enjoyed it. This is the second book by that author. The books take place in the same sort of history and the same sort of world, so it's ours obviously, but they both take place in Oxford around the First World War. Yes, it is the First World War, and there is mention of the main character from the Dictionary of Lost Words in the Bookbinder of Jericho, but they follow different stories and different characters. And again, similar to the first book that she wrote, I just really enjoyed Pip Williams' writing style. I thought that she just wrote really well. explained the history really well, drew the characters really, really well. I really enjoyed the character creation. I thought that was the best thing about it, and they're just really interesting books. Personally, I prefer the first book, the Dictionary of Lost Words, but I still really, really enjoyed the Bookbinder of Jericho, so I'm hoping, Emily, that you will enjoy that book as well. So that is the book I'm recommending to you today. Next up, I'm going to recommend a book to Manny from Reading with Manny. So today, the book that I'm recommending to you is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. And the reason I'm recommending this book to you is basically because I know that you recently read The Hymn to Dionysus by Natasha Pulley, and so I wanted to recommend another Greek mythology retelling. I haven't read The Hymn to Dionysus yet. As you know, we'll be reading it together in my book club, so shout out to my own book club. If anyone wants to join, then that information is listed below, so please do, that would be amazing. But anyway, yeah, so I think that you'll really enjoy, based on the fact that you enjoyed The Hymn to Dionysus, I think you'll really enjoy Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. So Ariadne is the daughter, or was the daughter, of the king of Crete, and she's the sister of the Minotaur, and Theseus came to Crete and she helped him out of the labyrinth. And it's that whole story. It's a retelling of that whole story from Ariadne's point of view. Ariadne also married Dionysus, so there will be some overlap between those stories, I would imagine. You may have come across Ariadne before, so I'm really hoping that those connections will be something that means you will enjoy this book. And so, yeah, recommending to you, Manny, just Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. And then finally, I'm going to recommend a book to And They Were Readers. So this is actually a channel run by two people, Sierra and John. The book that I'm recommending to you is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. The reason I'm recommending this book to you is because I know that you both read and really enjoyed Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I was a little surprised by that because I get the impression that you read more literary fiction, historical fiction, classics and those sorts of books. However, you did seem to really, really enjoy, like I said, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and I've heard a lot of people in the past comp these two series together. So the first book is The Lies of Locke Lamora, and then there are two other books in the series out now. Apparently there are more books coming, but I'm not sure. But anyway, similar to Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, it is a story about criminals and heists. I love Scott Lynch's writing style. I thought that it's almost very Shakespearean, I thought, in the way that he kind of constructs his characters and the way that he constructs these really elaborate storylines. But they're just a lot of fun. I love his writing style. I love his characters. Jean and Locke forever will be some of my favourite friendships in books, and yeah, just thought it was really, really well done, and love those two in particular, Jean and Locke. Their friendship goals, definitely, and I'm hoping that the book is something that you will really enjoy. So it is more kind of grimdark, I think, technically fantasy, but it's still a lot of fun, really well written, heist, yeah, criminal underbelly sort of stories. We follow our two main characters, John and Locke, and they are criminals, con men, and they are just also amazing. So yeah, that is the book that I'm recommending to you both, and that is everything that I wanted to recommend to all the people I wanted to recommend books to today. Like I said before, if you would like me to recommend a book to you, please comment below. If you have had a recommendation from me in the past, but you would like another one, then please comment below as well, because I'm more than happy to do a second recommendation. And yeah, that's everything that I want to talk to you about today. So leave me any comments that you would like. Let me know if you would like a recommendation. If you have read any of these books and you enjoyed them or didn't, let me know that in the comments below as well. And if you're one of the people I'm recommending to, please let me know if you've read the book or if you're interested, etc. But yeah, if you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me the thumbs up emoji, because I'm hoping that I get a thumbs up from all these people and from my recommendations. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And like I said, thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.